A few years ago, a wrist injury while skiing made me realize just how certain my career as a dentist could be. After that, I started reading lots of books about money and investing. I've gone through everything from Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And in this video, I'm going to share the key lessons that I've learned since I realized I had zero financial education from college or dental school. It's all about rethinking how to invest wisely. And if you're new here, I'm Dr. Jeff Anzalone, a dentist on a mission to help you make work optional. Don't forget to sign up for my free passive income training. Click the link below this video. Let's get going. Some of these books I have here, some I don't. If I have them, I'm going to pick them up, and let's start off with this, the good old purple Bible, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This was one of the very first books that I picked up after my skiing accident. And I quickly realized why it comes so highly recognized by so many successful people out there, either that I've read about or I've heard on podcasts. Okay, so we have Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, the author of the book, Robert Kiyosaki, he actually shares insights from two father figures in his life. He has his real dad, or his biological dad, who actually believed in the security of a regular job and putting money in a 401k for retirement, a path that I personally was very familiar with after dental school. And then he had his best friend's dad, or his rich dad, which was actually a high school dropout who built a huge business empire in Hawaii. And his second dad, he actually got Robert to start to think independently about different things, and then about how to invest his money that would actually generate more money, like stocks, real estate, or having your own business. This book introduced me to the concept between assets and liabilities. Again, nothing that I learned in dental school. Now, assets are something that put money into your pocket, whereas liabilities, they take money out of your pocket. Easy way to remember it: assets feed you, liabilities bleed you. Coming out of dental school with $300,000 in debt, I started to learn the importance of accumulating more assets versus liabilities. Kiyosaki in the book also, he talks about the potential downsides of your house. And many times we view our house as an investment, right? It's easily, especially for high income earners, doctors, dentists, attorneys, to get out. And what do we want to do? We want to go from that apartment. We've been in school, we've been in this cramped little 800 square foot apartment to get this big, large house. Now we want to, a lot of times, overspend on a large house. What does this do? This ties up the funds that could be used more productively if we invested it elsewhere. The book also lays out the fundamentals of personal finance really in a straightforward manner. It encourages you to see every dollar as an employee working towards your financial freedom. And this is going to help you weigh the immediate satisfaction of really spending against the long-term benefits of saving and investing. A lot of times we're making money and we're spending it, making money and we're spending it. Instead, he encourages us to see that money as somebody going out and making money for us, because every dollar that you spend now is actually one less than you can grow for you in the future. This book is an excellent starting point for anybody looking just to enhance their financial literacy. Now, the follow-up book to this, to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is something that really completely changed the way I thought about money. And that is the cash flow quadrant. And he actually has, if you have kids, he has a cash flow quadrant board game, both for adults and kids. I highly recommend you get, and a book too, get that board game if you have kids. This book really opened my eyes to something I really hadn't considered before as a dentist, and that is this: how we make money. Well, you may say, well, Jeff, I'm a dentist, I make money, I just go treat patients. Okay, you don't even think about that. And you've probably heard the phrase, you don't know what you don't know. Again, as a dentist, I used to think making money just meant coming here to the office, treating patients, and that was it. Especially before my injury. And then when I had the injury, it made me completely reconsider everything. Many of us are taught the safest route to financial security is a stable job. But the cash flow quadrant actually challenges everything. It shows the limitations of a 9-to-5 job and explains that you really don't have to be tied to a desk, or in my case, a dental chair, to make a living and achieve financial freedom. In fact, here's the thing, depending solely, if you have to depend solely on your job for your income, that can be one of the worst strategies for financial independence. Now in the book, he actually talks about the cash flow quadrant, which actually, again, shows us the 4 different ways that we're able to make money, because we talked about how to make money. And I've talked about this in detail. You can actually search for some of my other videos, but very, very briefly, you can either be an employee, which is the majority of people are on the left side, being an employee, or self-employed over here. And this is what he calls the poor side. Or being a business owner, where you have a system in place that doesn't require your time to be there, or you're an investor, okay? Your money is making money for you. And he talks about how each of these paths, depending on which one you're on, can lead to financial freedom. And he does a really good job of helping you figure out which path that you're on now, and then which path may be the best for you. This book is actually great for sparking new ideas. And again, more importantly, especially for me, changing the way that you're going to think about making money. And for practical steps on really how to apply these concepts, I recommend checking out our next book on the list, which is one that I do have, and that is this one, The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. At first, I was skeptical about the idea of a 4-hour work week. It really sounded too good to be true. But as I really got into the book, I realized and we've heard this before, it's all about working smarter, not so much harder, okay? It's also in the book, it's all about working smarter, not so much less. Ferriss shares how he actually changed his life by outsourcing the majority of his tasks and automating his business. This freed up his time so he wasn't stuck working all day. He introduced a really interesting idea called the low information diet. This means avoiding, which is a really good idea, avoiding any type of news or emails or any social media, anything like that can distract you from your goals. By focusing on only what's essential for you, what's that going to do? You're going to be more productive, and you're going to have more time to do the things that you enjoy. This book, together with the cash flow quadrant, they actually go kind of hand in hand. While one book shows you different ways to earn money, the other gives you strategies to manage your life so you can start enjoying the benefits now, not when you think that you're going to retire. So the 4-hour work week is packed full of really good real world examples and steps that really anybody can start transforming their life right away. And our next book is this one by MJ DeMarco, The Millionaire Fast Lane. This book, as you can kind of see, has an interesting idea. Here's the thing. There's no way to get rich easily, but you can get rich quickly. You don't hear that often, right? There's no way to get rich easily, but you can do it quickly. The author talks about 3 paths to your financial life. And you'll figure out very quickly which one that you're on when I discuss them. First up, we have the sidewalk. What is this, Jeff? Well, if you're on this path, you're actually spending more than you earn. Sound familiar? And you always are waiting for the next paycheck. So you're actually spending more money than you earned, and you're living basically paycheck to paycheck. This cycle keeps you from what? It keeps you from saving or investing. And basically, you're trapped. You're trapped in a state where you can't grow wealth, which is really the majority of the Americans out there. It's like being stuck, because the more that you earn, the more that you spend, you never move forward. Next up is what he calls, you go from the sidewalk to now you're on the slow lane. You're in the slow lane. This is the traditional route that many of us are taught to what we need to do in life. We need to do what? We need to go to school. We need to study hard, make good grades. We need to secure a what? We need to secure a stable job. And then as we're working, you wanted to save a little bit of portion of our income, our entire working career. And here, if you're in the slow lane, the goal is to retire at 65 and to rely on the savings that you've accumulated over all the decades. Although it's considered safe, it's what? It's incredibly slow. You exchange hours for a fixed amount of money your entire career. And it's probably going to take a lifetime to get to the point where you do have some sort of financial independence. limiting your ability to enjoy your wealth now while you're still young. Sound familiar? And then number 3 is actually the name of the book, The Millionaire Fast Lane. The third path is actually the fast lane. What is this? Well, this path actually encourages you to leverage, you've heard me talk about that before, to leverage your time to create wealth. Instead of earning by the hour, you invest in, or maybe you start a business that generates ongoing income. For example, you could launch an online store that uses automation to sell products, or you could do something like that I do. You invest in properties that earn rental income. This approach focuses on building passive income streams that continue to pay you without continuous hands-on work, allowing you to what? Gain financial freedom much quicker, thus the name, the fast lane. Understanding these 3 paths is going to help you make informed decisions about how to manage your finances. If you want early financial freedom and you want to enjoy your earnings rather than waiting until 65 or later, then the fast lane is going to be the best strategy for you. Again, you know what's best for you. And being in the fast lane, that sort of thing, it's really going to require you to put in more upfront effort because it's not easy. Not everybody's doing it. And a willingness to think differently, a willingness to think creatively. But guess what? This could really significantly accelerate your journey to wealth. Most people are either on the sidewalk or the slow lane. The majority of people are not in the fast lane, and there's a reason. But once you get into it, it's amazing where that's going to take you. All right, here's the next book. Classic book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Even though it was written in 1937, it still has valuable lessons today. I found it, and I reread it quite often. I find it incredibly relevant, and it's helped just so many people towards success. The book actually teaches 13 essential principles for gaining wealth and personal growth. It's really like a full guide on how to use your mind and your willpower to achieve big things. After I started applying some of these lessons from Hill, I start to notice small but powerful changes in my life. He actually emphasizes something, and he really talks about this a lot, that the majority of the people do not have, and that is a clear purpose. If you have a clear purpose, this is going to act like a compass that's going to point you towards your goals. Because if you start going off on a tangent over here, you have a clear purpose of where you're trying to go, it's going to keep you on that path. I always ask other doctors that I coach, one of the first questions that I ask is, what do you want? And this is what I get, silence, because many of them don't have an answer. If you don't know what you want, then how do you know where you're going? You need a well-defined goal to focus all of your energy towards, which is going to greatly increase your chances of success. He also talks about this, faith. Faith is another big theme in his book. He talks about having a strong belief in your goals and in your abilities. With true faith, you're going to be able to keep a positive mindset and push past any obstacles that come your way, because you will have obstacles, you will fail, you will get knocked down. But it's the ability to think that, yes, you're going to have these issues, but you can keep moving forward, getting knocked down. Another theme in the book is auto-suggestion. It's about feeding your mind with positive thoughts and beliefs, which actually help shape your actions towards success. You can actually practice auto-suggestion by doing things like repeating positive affirmations, visualizing, which is, I do this a lot, visualizing what you want, visualizing your goals, and listening to motivational content. Really, another word for this could be manifestation. And there's plenty of books and videos and podcasts about how to do that. If you haven't looked at doing that, it's very, very powerful. He'll also distinguishes between general knowledge, which is good for just everyday tasks, and then specialized knowledge, which is crucial for excelling in a specific field. To succeed, you should focus on gaining knowledge that's actually directly related to your goals. Think and Grow Rich isn't just about making money. It's about finding what's going to drive you and then using that passion to achieve great things. Whether it's through defining your purpose, building faith, or acquiring the right knowledge, this book actually offers a roadmap to mastering your own success. Next up, and I actually heard recently a podcast with Morgan Housel on it, is his book, The Psychology of Money. His book, years ago when I first came across it, it came up on one of the podcasts that I was listening to, and it really caught my attention because really the book's titled The Psychology of Money. And in it, Housel discusses how our behaviors and attitudes toward money can either help or hinder our financial success. It's really how actually kind of these two books, the Think and Grow Rich and Psychology of Money, they actually kind of go hand in hand a little bit, okay? In his book, he actually explains that being good with money really isn't about how smart you are. It's more about how you behave with your money. Many people struggle with financial behaviors like they're too overconfident or maybe they're too impatient, which can really screw up their finances. He teaches us that having realistic financial goals and not just relying on past financial success can lead to actually financial independence in the long run. The Psychology of Money really makes you think differently about money, and it's great for anybody looking to understand more of the psychological side of finance. There's some key points that I've noticed most books on money that they don't cover. And I'm going to touch on those shortly. But at first, now that we've kind of gone over the basic ways to manage your money, let's actually get into how to grow our wealth. So how do we get rich? Maybe where should we invest our money? Because there's all kinds of books out there. And one of the ones that is sort of the gold standard is The Intelligent Investor. Why is this one the gold standard? Well, it's actually a book that Warren Buffett read when he was 19 years old, and he actually claims that it's the best book, in his opinion, on investing ever. Pretty strong statement from one of the richest men in the world. The book actually teaches you that you really don't need to be a genius. Remember what we talked about in the Psychology of Money? You don't have to be that smart with money. You don't have to be a genius or you have to know everything about, let's say, the stock market to invest well. He really focuses on two main ideas. You need to have a clear plan when you make investment decisions. And secondly, you shouldn't let your feelings screw up your plan. Once you have a plan, stick with it. The book talks about understanding how the stock market works, the basics of money, and how to stay calm when the market goes up and down if you're a stock market investor. Next is a book called A Little Book of Common Sense Investing. And it was actually written by John Bogle, who was at one time the CEO of Vanguard, and he actually is claimed to be the creator of index funds. In his book, he explains that a simple and effective way for beginner investors to start is just by investing in index funds and to just do so for a long time. Again, if you want to be like what MJ DeMarco talks about in the slow lane, you can do this. If you're going to be in a career where you want to stay in it for 30, 40 years or longer, this is a great thing to do. Be diligent about it and invest in index funds. I still invest in index funds in Vanguard, actually on the side as well. And in the book, he discusses why index funds generally do better than other types of investment. And he actually provides advice on how to choose between the right mix of stocks and bonds based on how old you are. And really, this strategy makes it very easy for anybody that wants to get into investing again without being an expert. The next book is by James Clear, and it's called Atomic Habits. And it shows how people often focus too much on the goals they want to reach, which they can't always control, instead of focusing on their daily habits, hence the name Atomic Habits, which they can control. One helpful tip from the book is something that he called habit stacking. This means that you start a new habit at the same time as one that you already do every day. And this makes the new habit actually easier to remember and keep doing. But many people just keep putting things off and they don't develop any new good habits. Often people just go through their days without, again, that clear plan. And then they suddenly find out, okay, well, a lot of time has passed. I just went through this past year without changing anything. Why? Because they did not create any habits, especially atomic habits. In contrast, Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People talks about the importance of knowing where you want to go in life and how you want to be remembered. This actually helps give you extra motivation. It's really important, again, and we've talked about this, and it's kind of a multiple theme in some of these books that we talked about. It's important to have a clear plan for where you're headed, which is going to help you make sure that what you do each day, hence with your habits, is helping you get to where you want to go. Okay, this is different from just living day to day without really direction. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to lose 20 pounds. You want to lose 20 pounds. Well, you're going to have some certain habits doing that. You're going to maybe avoid going out to eat, maybe avoid soft drinks, eating sweets, going to the gym, If you know that you're not the type of person that's going to be able to go to the gym on your own, get a trainer. And if you don't do these things and the year goes by, guess what? Not only have you not lost 20 pounds, you may have gained 20 pounds. The goal, having a clear path, whatever you want, remember that's the compass that's going to show you in the right direction. And having small habits along the way that build on each other, that's what's eventually going to get you to accomplish your goals. Next book is called The Compound Effect. Question, would you rather have $1 million now or a penny that doubles every day for 31 days? Most people will be surprised to learn that the penny doubling every 31 days ends up being worth over 10.7 million bucks. The compound effect actually uses this example in the book to show just how powerful compound interest can be when it comes to investing. This idea gets a lot of people excited about investing very quickly because of that example. However, during the pandemic, many people actually, because the government was just shipping everybody money, many people actually jumped into investing in different things without really understand what they were getting into. Maybe they thought they knew what they were doing, but they were actually a part of a big bubble that was really about to pop, and it has popped. That's why it's so important to, again, follow solid investment principles and not get caught up in whatever hype the TV or the news is trying to sell. Next book is The E-Myth. And the E-Myth actually explains that most people who start businesses, they really aren't true entrepreneurs. They're just mainly skilled at something very specific. For example, somebody who makes, let's say, great cakes, who actually have somebody that works for me in my dental office, makes fantastic cakes. If you have somebody like that, they might think that, okay, well, I can go out and open and run a bakery. But making cakes and managing and opening and running a bakery are two totally different things. Just like in dentistry, you may be a great dentist, but having multiple different practices, that's totally different between the two. Many of these business owners actually pour too much money into their businesses, hoping they're eventually going to make a profit. Unfortunately, what often happens is that income, what does it do? It starts to slow down while expenses stay high and the business fails. That's the whole gist of the E-Myth and how to avoid that. Next book is called Profit First. And this is actually why the strategy in this book is so important. It suggests a simple formula. So we have profit first. Very easy formula. What is that? Sales minus profit equals what? Expenses. Basics of running business. This means that you actually set aside, the whole gist of the book is you set aside your profit first, and then you manage your expenses with what's left, ensuring that your business is what? Always profitable. If you want to have success in business, then you can do so by focusing on a specific niche. Even if the niche really seems small, being the best at something makes all the difference in the world. Just like the old phrase goes, there's riches in niches. One thing all of these books and solid financial advice have in common is this. There are really no shortcuts to success or getting rich. It takes what? Discipline, persistence, and the ability to manage your emotions when dealing with money or life in general. Many money-focused books, they don't really emphasize this, but one of the best investments that you can make is in yourself. One of the best investments you can make is in yourself before you dive into the stock market or crypto or real estate or any investment. Whether it's improving your money management skills, learning how to grow your income through maybe you want to start a side hustle or just starting a main business, investing in yourself can lead to bigger short-term gains. However, again, it does require effort, discipline, and a commitment to learning. Now, if you're curious about my favorite go-to real estate investment, real estate syndications, which I've talked about very briefly in this video, do me a favor, click on the next video to learn more.